I was 4 when the World War II started, and my father was, he wasn't qualified to serve in the services. He only had one eye. And he was with the War Office in London. And we were living with, we're all living, the family, there's my sister and I, and another brother who was a little bit older than the 2 of us. But the 3 of us were with my mother about outside. You probably know, if you've read a little of the history, was that Hitler was trying to break the people down. And at the same time, he was trying to hit the essential manufacturing areas for weapons and so on. And it went from London up to the Midlands, what we call the Midlands, and it went west out, not too far west actually, not much beyond London. And he began very early on in the war to start dropping bombs on that area, to break the will of the people and to, of course, hit the factories. We really got used to the government gave us masks to wear. We wore a mask pinned on our back, and air raid warnings. They sent up a signal when the planes were coming over, and then they gave an all clear. And when the signal went up to the planes were coming in, we had to go to a shelter, and that often is interesting. My music teacher had a steel table like this, reinforced. And when the siren went off, she would dive underneath and take us with her. And my father, the house we were living in had a basement which wasn't a normal height. It was only probably you would say probably 4 meters. And he built a concrete iron floor in our kitchen. And when the signal went up, if we were at home at night or he would open he made a trap door, and we would all dive down, and he had benches in places where we could sleep. So that was the routine. I remember one occasion when the siren went off, and one of my school pals, we were in his house, and his mother grabbed us, I think it was just the 2 of us, and took us under the stairs. And I will never forget, she was shaking like a leaf, just absolutely terrified. That's if the closer you got to London, the worse it got, because they were really bombing London hard. They in our area, what we saw mostly was what they call an incendiary bomb. It's designed to set places on fire, and so we had incendiary bombs dropping, which weren't really they weren't really life-threatening if you didn't get too near them, because they used to drop and spew out their phosphorus. They detonate and spew out the phosphorus. And what the attempt was to, whatever was there was set on fire. But we used to play with them. You know, I think is remarkable is that this went on for almost 4 years. And when I think of this COVID thing, you know, you've had it for a month and it's caused devastation. But that was going on for 4 years. Several occasions we got woken up by our parents in the night, and he bundled us into the car, and we drove down to my grandmother's place, and we had to leave the car. They wouldn't let us get too close to the coast because in case they didn't want the vehicles to be available to anybody that landed there, you know. So that was the theory. So we had to stay with our grandmother for a day or two. We had near us was a prisoner of war camp, and it was full of Italians, and we loved them as kids. We, you know, they did all kinds of things with pieces of wood, you know, fashioning things, and we as kids, we used to sit with them because they were allowed to walk, you know, and mix with the local people. That's how